Good morning. Welcome to our very different type of presentation for the St. Augustine Historic Area Council of the St. Johns County Chamber. I'm Memory Hopkins. I chair this council, and two of my council members are with us today. Lori Brandell, who's vice chair, and Patty McRoberts, who I think stepped away from her chair, is our membership chair. This morning we are going to present, there's Patty. We're going to present affordable housing challenges and opportunities in St. Johns County. To facilitate the question and answer portion of today's discussion, we ask that you submit questions via chat or Q&A. You should see those on the edge of your screen. Some of you may see it on the bottom, some of you may see it on the side. And we'll take time to answer those questions at the end of the presentation. This morning, we are pleased to have Delaney Colbert, Flagler College Enactus president, join us to discuss affordable housing in St. Johns County. Delaney will give us a little intro as to how this project came about. And so without further delay, I'd like to turn the program over to Delaney. Delaney, welcome.
Thanks. Good morning. My name is Delaney Colbert, and I'm president of Flagler Enactus. For those unfamiliar with Enactus, it's a worldwide organization that focuses on social entrepreneurship for college students. What our main goal is to come up with innovative social enterprises that help solve economic, environmental, and social problems in surrounding communities. One way that we decided to tackle this was with our HOME project, which stands for Housing Opportunities Made Easy. Next slide, please. So one of the ways that Enactus tries to find solutions to problems is that we do a needs assessment. And to do this, we held our biannual business advisory board meeting, where we have a bunch of local business leaders and people really involved in the community to discuss with us what they feel is the most pressing issue in St. Augustine at the current time. And a lot of these people said that we had an affordable housing crisis. Once our team looked further into this problem, we saw that a high housing costs and a lack of easily accessible resources are really contributing the most to this problem. For a high housing cost, it's a 2-bedroom apartment in Florida for low-income individuals would have to work 16 to 28 hours. To be able to afford a 2-bedroom apartment in Florida, low-income and minimum wage employees would have to earn $16 to $28 an hour. And right now, the Florida minimum wage is currently at $8.46. And additionally, to be able to afford a house, one would have to work 99 hours a week, which would be equivalent to 2.5 full-time jobs. Obviously, this is kind of hard to do, especially when people have families that they have to take care of. Additionally, when we were talking to Bill Lazar from St. John's Housing Partnership and some members of the Habitat for Humanity of St. Augustine, they said that there's a real problem with the lack of accessibility for these low-income individuals to be able to find resources. And so we also realized that there's not a cohesive database for individuals to find affordable housing for their families. Next slide, please. Affordable housing is defined as a house is not affordable if a family has to spend more than 30% of their income to live there. So that is the definition of affordable housing, in case anyone wasn't aware already. Next slide, please. The solution that our team came up with after discussing with local experts on the subject, and also Victoria Long of Flagler Hospital was to create an accessible database for affordable housing information and compiling the necessary documents needed for individuals to find the housing and apply for help from organizations. Next slide, please. So for Home, our new project, we decided to create an easily accessible database for individuals in need of affordable housing. This resource list will show what housing options are currently available, the organizations available to help, and also important documentation needed to apply for housing. In addition to this, we would also like to create a brochure or pamphlet that highlights the same information and distribute them to different businesses or organizations or government facilities that low-income individuals usually resort to find affordable housing. These documents that will be displayed will also include aid in applying for affordable housing and also for acquiring additional income for affordable housing. Next slide, please. Our target audience for this would be the ALICE population, which is, ALICE stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, and Employed Individuals. So this would include servers in downtown St. Augustine, people who are working the trolleys, anyone who's receiving minimum wage at the moment. We want to target places that people will go to for assistance, which is why our other target audience are public government facilities, minimum wage employers, nonprofits, and public libraries, because these are also areas where the ALICE population normally will be, and we want to extend our reach as much as possible. In addition to reaching out to these facilities with brochures, we realize that not every low-income family has access to internet, which is why we will be creating the brochures and placing them in these agencies. Next slide, please. So far, what we've accomplished, we've spoken with local affordable housing experts such as Bill Lazar from St. John's Housing Partnership, and also Habitat for Humanity, as well as our Business Advisory Board. And we've also gathered a list of resources that can be used in the website and pamphlets once we start creating them. Unfortunately, our progress has been halted because of the virus, but I feel once this starts, I guess, becoming over, we can get the show on the road and start actually making more progress. Next slide, please. As for next steps, we decided to divide this into 2 phases. Phase 1 is our official plan at the moment. It starts with compiling resources into the pamphlet and creating that little booklet for the ALICE population. And then we're going to start distributing the pamphlets across St. Augustine in our target areas. Next, while doing this, we're going to start website development. Our goal for that would be to hopefully partner with a local organization that is already involved in trying to find affordable housing, and then kind of transferring our information onto their website. Or if we could find a website developer, that would be cool too. And then our 4th step would to market our website to increase traffic for the targeted audience. Phase 2 is something that we have been spitballing still. We have a couple ideas for us to expand our reach to the population and really make an impact. One of these potential plans is to create a tenant workshop where landlords, in a landlord summit where landlords will come together to discuss making rent affordable basically and turning their units into affordable housing. Meanwhile, we'd be hosting tenant workshops and teaching and getting people in to show people that are renting how to be a good tenant for landlords. Our second idea was to provide OSHA certification and training for low-income individuals and basically have them become their own independent contractor. We've discussed this a little bit, but the idea would be to host classes that enable the opportunity for people looking to learn a new skill that will bring in more income than maybe their current job. We would potentially partner with St. John's Housing Partnership or again, Habitat for Humanity in order for these people to get apprenticeships and really start developing those skills to become contractors. And then our next idea was to partner with banks and credit unions to transform foreclosed houses into living units for individuals. This would also coincide with an idea for a roommate pairing program, or is the best way I could describe it, where people in search for who can't afford living in a house by themselves or with their family, they get matched up with a roommate, which is something that we discussed a little bit, but not in complete detail. And we're not too sure what direction to go into for phase 2. So if anyone has any ideas, that would be really helpful. Next slide. Questions? I think that's it for the slides.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Delaney. I think most of us realize that, well, the whole state of Florida has an affordable housing issue nationwide. There is, and definitely St. Johns County. Mm-hmm. And we do have a lot of folks working in the hospitality field, in retail, in lower income wages jobs. It makes it very difficult for them to rent, let alone buy a property and own. One of our questions is who will maintain that website that you're talking about developing?
The website would be maintained by our Enactus team at first until we come up with a more sustainable solution.
Okay. I don't see any other questions. Is there any other questions from the audience? Let me check here. Maybe there's one. Are you looking at those in charge of hiring at local businesses as an additional target for entry-level workers?
Yeah, I would say so. Like all the downtown businesses that have tourists coming in and where there's a bunch of people working in the hospitality industry here that are local businesses and family owned, we would definitely target them as well.
Okay. How long will you continue this project? I believe you're graduating
yes,
soon. And how long would this Enactus group stay cohesive?
Well, that's a good question. We would keep running this project until the team eventually decides that we've that it's sustainable, it can run by itself, and that we're ready to transfer it to whoever they decide to transfer it to.
So another entity,
Yeah.
possibly like Habitat or St. John's Housing Partnership or someone like that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, let me see. I think there's another question here. How about seniors? Are they figured in the equation somewhere? They have very fixed incomes and assisted living is expensive.
Yes, ma'am. Whoever falls in the ALICE population guidelines, and as well as anyone who's receiving lower minimum income, and anyone that really needs affordable housing, really are who we're trying to target.
Right. So not necessarily someone who's employed. If it's a senior on a fixed income,
Yeah.
if they follow those ALICE guidelines, they would still qualify for some assistance with this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we answered that. Any other questions from anyone in our audience? I think we answered that one. Okay. Well, I don't see any other questions. Delaney, I really appreciate your time, and we appreciate the other students who worked on this project. If you would give them our thanks. The chamber will stay in contact with you to see how this evolves, what you produce. We certainly would be a vehicle for you to put those brochures and get the information out.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure that you get with us to continue your efforts. I appreciate everyone's time today. I know the Zoom meetings are becoming pretty prevalent for meetings. I'm looking forward to when we can all get together face to face. I know that we all miss that, and I hope that it's soon. Thank you for your time today.